Alright, so there's many things on the taboo list of controversial things that you shouldn't say to strangers, like politics or religion, but one of these items may not be on the list for good reason. So hunting is part of our cultural human history, and in today's society, some people would rather see that left behind, but I believe I can see both sides of this argument from both perspectives, and today I'd like to try to persuade you that hunting is not only a good thing that some people enjoy doing, but it's also very, very important for the way that wildlife and humans interact, and the hunting, managing, and selective harvest of wildlife species is much more beneficial to everyone and the wildlife than the prohibition of hunting. So with that being said, let's take a look at some of the needs that wildlife acquire from hunters and conservationists. The first thing wildlife require is to survive in a wild. The first thing wildlife require to survive is a wild space. So hunters buy, lease, and rent land more than any other conservation group. And groups such as Ducks Unlimited and the Quality Deer Management Association restore habitat for the types of wildlife that have a passion for hunting. Since its founding in 1937, the Ducks Unlimited Foundation has conserved more than 12,500,000 acres of wildlife or waterfowl habitat in North America, and that's according to ducks.org. Groups such as these were founded by hunters who believe in conserving and leaving our world better than the way we found it. The second thing wildlife need to survive is food. And we as humans have no real way of controlling the population of wildlife. The only way that we can ensure that they don't get overpopulated and run out of food is to selectively harvest certain animals from the population every year. And this percentage is determined by the size of the population and the ability for it to recover from these losses. The third thing wildlife require from humans is protection. So with laws and regulations that we introduce to reduce the amount of wildlife or the amount of animals taken, the populations are in danger of overhunting if we don't have those. So the requirements that all hunters should have are a hunting license and the proper permits, and these things produce revenue for the state and the country, which help to fund other conservation programs such as the public lands that are provided by the government, and that's according to NPR. With that being said, there's still a few things that we do as a society to preserve our tradition, or there's still a few things we can do to preserve our tradition, and change the way that we think about what's actually happening when we go hunting is one of the most important things. Because although the life of an animal must be taken during the hunting process, the hunter actually is taking the animal by more ethical means than what would actually happen in the wild, because things don't just die of old age and out in the wild. It's not really pretty how they normally die. So it's allowing them a more humane death, and actually increases the quality of life for other animals of the species in the area. And the sacrifice of one animal leads to the betterment of conditions for the entire area. So for many wildlife species, hunting also helps to maintain the populations at a level compatible with human activity and land use. Wildlife is a renewable resource with a surplus, and hunters that have harvested that surplus. The harvestable surplus is never exhausted, and hunting serves an integral part of preserving native biodiversity, according to Wagner in 2017. So we should understand as a society that hunting is as sustainable as anything gets. Now that we understand why it's necessary to harvest wildlife and why it's necessary for us to harvest wildlife, let's take a look at what hunting and conservation can offer to us humans. Hunting and time outdoors with family or friends can offer some of the best memories a person can make, as well as providing a needed break from the hectic life we all know. So the experience can be humbling as well as exhilarating, and often becomes a favorite pastime of those that are intrigued by it. Children love the chance to be outdoors and learn about wildlife, as well as the chance to take it into their own hands. The harvest can provide lean and healthy protein from the family of the hunter, or it could be donated to the less fortunate through the Hunters for the Hungry program, which is offered in Kentucky. The benefits and joys that have been afforded to me while hunting are too numerous for me to count, and that's why I continue to go back time and time again. After hearing some of the benefits of hunting and conservation, what can we do as a society to preserve our piece of history? As conservation works today for a better tomorrow, the future of hunting requires work to ensure its longevity. The future of hunting is the children of today, and as a society, exposing children to hunting helps them learn about the balance of the animals in the space that host them and the idea of taking only what you need. This protects the land and ensures game remains for the future, according to ammo.com. The most important thing we can do to ensure conservation tactics in the future is to get children and youth out in the great outdoors so they can experience all of its wonders and beauties.